and we have gone through the budget. We have looked at the assumptions on the revenue and expenditure, and we have prepared this summary report. The government's revenue strategy heavily relies on vehicle import, contributing to between 50 and 70% of the total revenue increase. I present the report of the Committee on Public Finance on the appropriation bill for the financial year 2025 in terms of the Standing Order 121-5 Roman 1 of Parliament on the fiscal, financial and economic assumptions used as the basis in arriving at total estimated expenditure and revenue of the budget. Only in English language with special leave of the House, and the copies of Sinhala and Tamil languages will be presented as soon as possible. Honourable Speaker, let me take 3 minutes of your valuable time to give a brief summary. Everybody has this report on their table as at right now. What we have done is we've looked at the budget that was presented a week ago, and according to standing orders, we must present a report on the fiscal and financial assumptions used in the basis as the basis in arriving at total estimated expenditure and revenue before the commencement of the committee stage of the appropriation bill. So this is one report. There's another report that's due. We will present that. That's based on that refers to the estimates with the allocation of monies in compliance with the government policies that we will present to this House on Thursday morning before the committee stage begins. So this report consists of 92 pages, and we have gone through the budget. We have looked at the assumptions on the revenue and expenditure, and we have prepared this summary report. First, it talks about the legislative background upon which these reports are presented, and also the budget is prepared. So key is the Public Financial Management Act, the Economic Transformation Act, and the Public Debt Management Act, Honourable Sir. Next, we look at the key macroeconomic projections for the budget for 2025, where the basic assumption is the growth rate of the economy, and it is expected to grow between 3 to 5% for this year. However, we have mentioned here that the growth remains vulnerable to global trade uncertainties, geopolitical risks, and climate-related disruptions. On the inflation, sir, inflation is expected to return to the 5% target by the third quarter of this year after several quarters of deflation. The relaxation of import restrictions is expected to boost tax revenue, but may also widen the trade deficit and exert pressure on the foreign reserves. Also, we talked about ensuring fiscal and monetary policy coordination along with structural reforms will be critical for maintaining macroeconomic stability and achieving the fiscal targets for 2025. Then we analyze the revenue projections in the budget for 2025. Estimates for this year projected to increase by 1.67% of GDP, primarily driven by indirect taxes. The government's revenue strategy heavily relies on vehicle imports, contributing to between 50 and 70% of the total revenue increase. Then compliance with the IMF extended fund facility targets hinges on achieving tax to GDP ratio of 13.9%, sir. But any delays or setbacks in vehicle importation or administrative inefficiencies could jeopardize this goal. The next section looks at the government's expenditure, projecting a 17.3% increase in 2025. This excludes debt amortization, and this is an increase from 14.4% in 2024. It is primarily driven on the account of a 61% increase to rupees 1.3 trillion in capital expenditure in comparison to a 12.4% reduction to 817 billion last year. The increase is mainly on account of resumption of foreign funded projects post the debt restructure. Then we look at the debt sustainability analysis in the next section, which is key It's very important based on the IMF debt sustainability analysis, the DSA targets. By the end of 2024, Mr. Speaker, Sri Lanka outperformed IMF projections with the central government debt to GDP at 98.7% compared to the IMF target of 108.8%. Sri Lanka's debt trajectory remains on a positive path, benefiting from improved economic performance, a stable exchange rate, and lower than expected inflation as per the IMF projections. Finally, sir, we conclude with some concerns pertaining to the budget process. Initial assumptions provided to our committee stipulated that the budget estimates are prepared based on the assumption of Sri Lanka recording a 10% nominal growth rate, and this was made up of a 3% real growth and 7% or 6.7% GDP deflator for this year. We observed that these initial assumptions by the Ministry of Finance differ from the assumptions presented in the budget 2025 documents, which refer to estimated economic growth rate, real growth rate of 5% for 2025. So this concludes the summary, but I want to mention that we haven't still got our team in place. We haven't still got a technical team. So we had a number of volunteers. I briefly mentioned them because they did it, as volunteers, led by Dr. Roshanan Pereira, consisting of Dr. Venura Velagedara, Mr. Umesh Moramudali, Ms. Chetana Ranatunga, Ms. Hasini Karunaratna, Ms. Hafsa Hanifa, Mr. K.D. Vimanga, and Mr. Daminda Gunasekar. Thank you very much.
You're watching the Life Traveller channel.